How long would you say you were? We say this thing called statism. If for people who don't know, it's the belief in authority, the belief that somebody has the right to rule you.
Right.
How long would you say you were a statist? How many years? I like to ask this question to everybody.
From the day I took my first breath, probably to the point where I was maybe 44 years old, 43 years old, and 42. That's when I had my dark night of the soul. But prior to that, it was happening in graduations on realizing how screwed up it is, because it starts with realizing how screwed up and contradictive the system is. And then you start, how the universe is fractal. Well, so is the government. I worked on several different levels of government, and the worse up you get, it's all the same. So as I started to realize there's all these contradictions at every level of government, they put the contradictions in the compartmentalization up there to confuse the hell out of you anyway. They want to keep you in a state of where they can, and that state is not natural. So that's when I started to realize, look at the contradictions in the 7 deadly sins. It's all made to control humanity. And, I can get into that in my opinion on why that is on some of those things. But I would say about that, I'd say like 44, 45 years old after my dark night of the soul in 2014. But when I nearly died in 2017, and I'd already gone through all this other stuff, is when I 100% knew. And I started experiencing all these signs, these supernatural signs that I called supernatural, that I now refer to, that I'm starting to understand them a little bit more simply natural. Things may have just been waking. They were always there. I just couldn't see them before. So now I was starting to see them because I was vibrating. I had a resonance and a vibration that drew that to me and allowed me to be able to actually see it. So that's when I set out to figure out the colloquial, to figure out the tie between what we would scientifically call natural law, the science of natural law. And, again, science isn't like truth, nature's truth. Science is just a word we use to describe a process. So, but I set out to find the connection between science and the colloquial version of religion, because of what I was dealing with seemed to be a religious like experience. No, it was a spiritual experience. Now I'm coming to understand it was more of a consciousness experience. So that was in 2017 and 18. I wrote the first words to my book in August 5th, 2018 is when I wrote the first paragraph of Rise from Darkness. And then that's when I came across Hermetic Principles, and I ended up coming across those early in 2019. And then later in 2019 came across Mark's work and started doing more research on stuff. And, I wish I would have woke up earlier. But yeah, a lot of years. I was a statist for a lot of years. So I'm at the point now where I'm trying to have, a little bit of empathy for people who look at you confused when you tell them you don't vote. And They try to tell you, well, it's your duty to vote. No, it's actually my duty not to vote. It's your duty not to vote also. Let's not, encourage them. They're going to pick what they want anyways. Don't vote. So a lot of years, man, a lot more years than I care to admit. So I see guys who I know are probably half my age doing this work. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing that so many people woke up so quick and we're doing. And I put this in one of my podcasts also. There's people out there, and this was me talking directly to ex-order file. I'm an ex-order follower. This is me talking to current order followers. There's people out there following the oath you thought you were taking to protect and to serve. And I think back on it, and a lot of you guys are like half my age. So I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you giving me this platform to even talk on. I'm thankful for everybody in the movement that I've been able to meet and talk to. And as soon as I started getting a little bit noticed, now my retirement's getting screwed with. I don't give a fuck. They can take everything. I don't care.
You have purpose.
Yeah. And when you start getting more driven, you start getting a little bit more focused on something. I can put all my nervous energy into this, which is why I'm kind of living on my own now, so I can concentrate on mainly just this. I'd like to once I get things a little more in order by the end of this month, I want to get more like once a week, every week, do a podcast. Every week, don't miss a week, unless I absolutely have to. Every week, have a message to these order followers. Because things are they're going to get bad, is what I'm afraid of. And if we can get more order followers to quit the cult, Well, even some of the most mediocre order followers have training that they can actually help, the good side with. And then it's a perfect chance for them to fulfill that part of the oath that they thought they were taking. The part that guys like me pay attention to protect and to serve, not to also follow other laws that are passed, blah, 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 blah. Because guys like me don't hear a whole bunch of that because we think to ourselves, well, we're not going to do any of that other stuff until you get stuck in that system and trapped. Just like politicians, some of them aren't bad. They don't get into it for bad reasons, but then they get turned. It's almost the system doesn't allow you to stay moral. And anyone who does stay moral, they get assassinated. So there's
because it's not moral to begin with, right?
Exactly. To me, that's the whole thing. Is they get when you start playing in an immoral system to do good, you become part of that system, and that in itself is going to attract, negative karma to you. So it's almost like I had that negative karma. I had to deal with the consequential effects. It's been a real wake up. It's been a real experience. If I can go back in time, I would have never done it, but again, 2020 hindsight is always there. And you have to have that 0 point from this point forward. What am I going to control? What am I going to do? How could I help for real? And I don't know. This is the last free country because we still got guns.
Yeah.
All these other countries are, and they're trying to do, that's why they're having all these. And that's what I talked about in, I think, my last podcast. I might have talked about it, but that's what these false flags are about, because they want to enact red flag rules.